So, has modern spirituality lost its way? Good morning, my friends. It is I, John, again on the back deck, mug in hand, loving the warm weather and the sun and the birds chirping, which I'm sure you can't hear because of my software. But it's beautiful out here. I wanted to hop on and talk about modern spirituality and how it's losing its way. You know, it's really interesting to me when I go on YouTube and I see these spiritual entrepreneurs, and that's what they are. They're spiritual entrepreneurs. They are creating a business out of spirituality. Now, I can't say that I'm not one of them because I make a living doing spiritual work. But there's a difference, I think personally. I think the difference is what are you marketing? Are you marketing fears and anxieties? Are you marketing conspiracies and lies? Are you marketing deception to scare people to watch your video to find out what the heck I missed, or what the heck I should know, or what's the secret of my life that I don't know, and what's the secret teachings of Jesus, and what did they lie to me about Jesus, and what did the Vatican do to, and the deceptions of this? What is the next conspiracy in my spirituality that I need to know about so that I can? You fear how, as I'm saying that, you feel my tension, you feel my anxiety building. I recently had a big YouTuber talking to me about YouTube, and the one criticism he had for my channel was that my titles weren't controversial enough. He says, when you create your YouTube title, you have to make it controversial as you can so that it'll reach the biggest audience. And I struggle with that. I really do, because I don't want if my titles sound controversial, it's not because of the controversy in my mind. It's because I'm calling out the controversies that are untrue. I've had people bring me on and interview me and then put on titles saying things I never said, because the controversial title will get more traction. There's another guy out there who he makes his entire living off of creating ancient conspiracy theories about Jesus and about aliens, and he's a multimillionaire. And the more you dive into his stuff, you start to see how he's shifting out of spirituality and shifting over into being just a spiritual entrepreneur. And he's becoming more and more about being a millionaire and how to invest and all these things. He's shifting away because he's running out of controversy. Modern spirituality, and I say that specifically because when I talk about the New Age movement, people sometimes get very offended when I say New Age, but the New Age movement is bred from the Theosophical Society. It's actually, that's where the name comes from, the New Age movement. I think what we have now in the spiritual communities is less New Age, because it's getting further and further away from the Theosophical Society stuff, and more about modern spirituality in regards to they're looking for reasons, and they're looking for these pathways to make them feel like they know something they didn't know before. I cannot tell you how many people who've come onto my channel who eventually drift away because they say, "You're not saying anything new." Correct. Because everything I do is measured against the simplicity of my oneness with God. I think it's all far simpler. And the people who are saying, "You're not saying anything new," are the ones who are searching for the next light show, the next aha moment. And the reality of it is, those are just pathways away from yourself. those are the pathways to say I know something more, or I'm this, that, or the other thing. But one of these YouTubers talks about, you know, Jesus being the reincarnation of an ancient Egyptian god, right? And it's a theory he's made up. It's a theory he's created because it's marketable. Why is it marketable? Because ancient Egypt is marketable and Jesus is marketable. Tie them together with a controversy or a concept that would tie the two together. You've now created a marketable topic. And if you go to this person's channel, you'll find multiple videos on Jesus being the reincarnation of this Egyptian god. You'll also find videos on that channel about Jesus being an alien and the ancient God being an alien. You'll find all of these theories completely unprovable, no documentation historically, nothing there except for a fabricated ancient conspiracy theory. And what they're doing is they're saying this is a conspiracy, it's my theory, but they're not saying the theory part. They're saying it as if it's fact. They're putting it out there in front of you, saying this is the truth. And then what I get in my comment section very frequently is people coming on believing their truth and then saying it in my comment section as if it's fact, and other people are dumb for not believing it. And those people get blocked from my channel, because the second you start belittling someone else and trying to say, this is absolute, this is it, period, you're all wrong, I get no time for you, because you've anchored yourself to a position that you're not going to move from, and you're not open to hearing anybody else's perspective or anybody else's spiritual journey. As all spiritual journeys are personal, everyone has their own truth. And to walk in here and say that you and your belief is the only way, and you have to believe this, you lost me. I'm out, right? It comes down to when you're out there and you're looking for your own personal connection to God. You don't need me. You don't need anybody on YouTube. And there's a big movement right now for people to turn off the news. You know, turn off the news, because there's not much you can do about it anyway. So why keep perpetuating hearing it and getting emotional about it, right? People are talking about I don't watch any news anymore. You should stop watching spiritual YouTube channels, including mine, if you find that it makes you upset. If it makes you upset, that means it's not for you. If it makes you upset that my truth is different from yours, it's not for you. I can put out a video that is talking about being love, and I can guarantee you that someone will dislike that video. If you don't like my videos, then the question I would have to ask yourself is, why would someone saying just be loving upset you? Because you've anchored yourself into a position that's based in some idea, but you just thought you'd just say, I don't like the fact that this person is talking love. It's the reaching out that is the struggle, right? People will always try to find their personal journey, but if they're not willing to dive deep within themselves and come back to the feeling of love, this is my opinion, my belief, if they're not willing to go down there and they're just going to listen to what somebody else says and dive into their belief and saying, I'm just going to follow them, then I think they're missing their direct connection to God. I think they've lost their way. I think they're wandering in the wilderness with a leader who has no compass. I think the leader up there is saying, I have a wallet and I'm filling it with the money that you're putting me to take this journey with me. And I'm using all the fear-based anxieties to keep you behind me. That's what I see on YouTube, the majority of it. I recently watched a YouTuber that I really like. I like her as a person very much, but I can't watch her entire live streams. I have a hard time watching them because the people asking questions are also negative and also bitter. And it's the reason why, like, I love the voice of Alanis Morissette. I love her voice. I can't listen to most of her music because it's so angsty, but it's so fearful, so mad. And, you know, I consider myself a highly empathic person. And when I start to feel those things, it just repels me. And I just have to stop watching because I don't feel good. And how I feel is my responsibility. How I feel is my responsibility. I don't have to be a sheep following a crowd. I don't have to be searching for the next thing to make me feel like I'm special or feel like I have knowledge that no one else knew, or find these ancient spiritual gossips that are actually modern spiritual entrepreneurs spreading gossips to make much more money. And let me put it this way: my channel is considered a very small channel, and some of these guys are making millions and millions and millions of dollars. That's not me. I am not anywhere close to being a millionaire, but I will never, ever succumb to the idea that I have to promote fear and anxiety just for money. Money's not that important to me. To me, it's about doing good, loving works and knowing that it will support me, because when you do what you love, the money comes. I don't love scaring people, and I don't love trying to make them feel like something's been lied about to them, or that they've been deceived in some way, or all these things. I had someone on one of my private sessions yesterday who kept saying, well, we've been lied to about this, and we've been lied to about that. We were deceived about this. And she started listing all these, and they were all modern spirituality conspiracy theories. None of them had any basis in fact. None of them had any basis in evidence. They were all the deceptions and lies of modern YouTube spiritual entrepreneurs selling more views so that they can make more money from ad revenue and sponsorships and product sales and all those things. It really comes down to you using your discernment and saying, do I want to feel like I've been lied to, or do I want to create something new? Do I want to focus on the here and now and become a more beautiful, loving person who can affect the world in really positive ways? Because the spiritual entrepreneurs are not giving you that direction. They're telling you you've been lied to. They're telling you you've been deceived. They're telling you that you need to do this. They're telling you that the people that you have believed in for so long are actually aliens. They're telling you all of these stories, and people are falling for it. People are falling for it. The past is done. Leave it alone. Stop trying to change history. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. Let it go. Come back to the present moment. You can't do anything in the past. You can't do anything in the future. You only have the present moment. If you want to create something in your life, your thoughts, words, and deeds only exist in the present moment. You're only conscious now. And wasting time looking back at these spiritual conspiracy theories created by entrepreneurs to make money, looking back at that is not stepping into your own power and following their theories. Come back to the oneness of God. Just love one another. Step out in the world and just love one another. Just smile, laugh. And no, I'm not going to tell you anything more because I think it's all simplicity. There's a famous story from the Gnostic Acts of the Apostles of St. John in his old age in Ephesus. And they all say, John, you were the last one who saw him alive. Tell us about Jesus. Tell us about Joshua. And John, as an old man, would get up and he'd dodder up to the front of the temple, and he'd raise his hands and he'd say, love one another. And then he'd drop his hands and he would slowly dodder back to his chair. And they'd say, oh, John, tell us more. Tell us about, tell us the secret teachings. Tell us all the stuff. And John would turn and say, I can tell you no more until you learn this. Here's my belief about that story. When you learn there is no more. You will have the most amazing, beautiful, wonderful life when you just simply start loving without the fears and anxieties of dogma, without the fears and anxieties of spiritual conspiracy, without the fears and anxieties that is being elicited within you by people who you watch. I shut the live stream off because I can no longer deal with the anxiety and the stresses, because I don't want anxiety and stress in my life. Doesn't feel good to get rid of it. Doesn't feel good, it's gone. Because I am not living a life where I don't feel good. I'm living a life where I can love and love freely and have love returned to me. And I guess this video was really kind of sparked by the person on my private session yesterday, who is really deep into all of these spiritual conspiracy theories and speaking of them as if they're truth, not realizing that they didn't exist until a couple of years ago. They didn't exist until a couple of years ago, and there's no evidence for any of them. And if you need more from me, understand everything I do is measured against simplicity. In my very first regression, I said it's so simple we have a hard time comprehending it. And what is it? What is the simplicity that I lean into? The simplicity of just loving. That is the bulk of my teachings. That is the bulk of what I have come to understand over my lifetime. And that is the bulk of what I share. And then what I do on these channels, and when I'm speaking my truth, I'm sharing how living that way, the simple essence of love in different scenarios, changes everything. And in my personal life, it has changed everything. My experience with my family, my experience with money, my experience with life and love, my experience with just living, it has changed so dramatically because I just love, right? And like I say, if you need me to come up with conspiracy theories and you need me to come up with the secret teachings, you're on the wrong channel, because you don't need me is a big part of my message. Let go of the need. Everything is found within you. And that is where it will all be found, within you. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.